Why Freud thought God was just your dad. Religion, guilt, and civilization. Let's begin with a whisper of heresy. What if God is just a projection of your father? What if religion is not a divine truth, but a psychological illusion? That was Freud's claim. He didn't see religion as wicked, but he saw it as infantile, comforting, protective, and deeply rooted in the unconscious mind, not the heavens. In a world that had survived war, plague, and the disillusionment of modern science, Freud stepped forward and said, "You do not believe because of evidence. You believe because of need." He saw religion not as revelation, but as wish fulfillment. A structure built not to understand reality, but to manage fear, guilt, and longing. In this video, we'll explore Freud's critique of religion and his theory of its psychological origins. His two major works, Totem and Taboo, and the Future of an Illusion. How guilt, repression, and projection shape spiritual life. And the lasting implications. What happens to civilization when it no longer believes in God? Let's enter the most dangerous room in Freud's house, the one where he dared to psychoanalyze the divine. Freud believed all beliefs serve psychological functions, especially religion. He wrote, "Religious ideas are illusions, fulfillments of the oldest, strongest, and most urgent wishes of mankind." But what wishes? The wish to be protected, the wish to be forgiven, the wish for life after death, the wish for justice. And what fears? Fear of chaos, fear of death, fear of guilt, fear of fatherly punishment. Freud argued that humans, overwhelmed by helplessness, projected a powerful, fatherly figure onto the cosmos, just as a child imagines their parent as all-knowing and all-powerful. Religion, then, is not a discovery. It is a defense mechanism against existential terror. God is the ultimate superego, watching, judging, rewarding, punishing. And belief is the ego's way of managing anxiety by outsourcing justice to the divine. In Totem and Taboo, 1913, Freud ventured into anthropology. He proposed that religion originated in a primal crime. A prehistoric band of brothers kills the tribal father, a dominant, jealous male who monopolized the women. Driven by rage and desire, they destroy him. But afterward, racked with guilt, they create a totem to represent him, venerate him, and build taboos against repeating the crime. The father is dead, but now he's sacred. This myth, Freud claimed, forms the unconscious structure of all religion. A murdered God who is resurrected. Rituals of guilt and redemption. Taboos that shape moral order. Freud saw parallels with Christianity. The crucified Father, God, the ritual of guilt, confession, the symbolic communion, body and blood. It's not that these events literally happened, it's that they expressed psychic truths. Religion, to Freud, is how humanity remembers and disguises its original sins. In 1927, Freud published The Future of an Illusion, a direct assault on religious belief. He wrote with urgency and sorrow. Religion, he said, had outlived its usefulness. It had provided meaning, stability, moral codes. But it now stood in the way of progress, science, and psychological maturity. He compared religion to childhood neurosis. Just as a child fears punishment and creates fantasies to cope, so too does culture create gods. And like a therapist facing a client clinging to illusions, Freud urged civilization to let go. He predicted resistance. He knew belief was deep. But he insisted a man's ethical behavior should be based on sympathy, education, and social ties, not on religion. He wasn't arguing for nihilism. He was arguing for adulthood. Just as a child must face the truth about their parents, so must humanity face the truth about its gods. Freud believed guilt is the cornerstone of religion. In Civilization and Its Discontents, 1930, he explored how guilt arises not from God, but from internalized authority. This is the superego, the voice inside that watches, judges, and punishes. Originally, that voice belonged to the parent. But over time, it is internalized. And in religion, it is externalized again as God. So the superego is God within. God is the superego without. Freud argued that religion codifies this guilt into rituals: confession, penance, sacrifice. But unlike therapy, which aims to resolve guilt, religion tends to perpetuate it. Why? Because guilt keeps civilization in check. The more repressed the instinct, the stronger the guilt. The stronger the guilt, the more obedient the citizen. Freud saw this as a tragedy. Civilization needs repression to function, but repression breeds suffering. Religion, in this view, is both a cure and a cause, a salve for guilt that also deepens it. Freud's view of religion sparked outrage and admiration. Theologians accused him of arrogance. How could a mere psychologist reduce millennia of belief to psychological symptoms? But others saw value in his critique. The philosopher Paul Ricoeur called Freud a master of suspicion, alongside Marx and Nietzsche. Nietzsche, too, had called religion a lie, born of weakness and resentment. But where Nietzsche was poetic, Freud was clinical. Freud's contemporary Carl Jung disagreed sharply. Jung believed the religious impulse was archetypal, not pathological. He saw God images as deep symbols of the psyche's quest for wholeness. To Jung, Freud had reduced religion too much, missing its creative and healing potential. Modern thinkers are divided. Some see Freud as a prophet of secularism. Others as blind to the depth and diversity of spiritual experience. But even critics admit, Freud revealed that belief is not just intellectual, it is emotional, symbolic, and deeply human. So, was Freud right? Is religion merely an illusion? A collective fantasy? A father in the sky? Or was he missing something? What's clear is this: Freud treated religion not with mockery, but with analysis. He saw its power, even as he doubted its truth. He called it both a defense and a source of meaning, a symptom of fear and a structure of civilization. His legacy isn't about whether God exists. It's about what need that God fulfills. Freud believed that to grow up is to face life without illusion, to mourn the loss of cosmic comfort, to replace divine authority with inner awareness. He knew this wasn't easy, but he believed it was necessary. For freedom, for reason, for depth. Even today, whether we kneel, doubt, meditate, or disbelieve, Freud's voice is still with us. Look inward, understand your need to believe, and ask what truth lies behind the illusion. The sacred may be real, or not, but the psychological reality of belief is beyond question. And that, Freud thought, was worth understanding, if only so we can choose more freely. Curious minds never stop. Subscribe to keep exploring.